Paul, if there's anyone who's been involved in more citizen initiative campaigns in the history of this country, I'm not aware of them. He's organized over 150 statewide petition drives in 47 states. Which three did you miss?
West Virginia and Indiana, and I can't think of the third.
Okay.
North Carolina.
Okay. Paul is president of the Citizens in Charge Foundation, which is, and its partner organization, Citizens in Charge, which is a national organization, a mostly volunteer network of people dedicated to protecting and expanding initiative and referendum rights. He was a leader of the movement that, through the initiative process, largely gave us the term limits in many states of the country.
15 have it for legislatures and most governors.
And he's someone who's put his butt on the line, I think I'm to say, for his beliefs. Went to jail briefly in the 1970s for refusing to register for the Selective Service.
1980s.
1980s, well, it was sooner. And in the Attorney General of Oklahoma, not so many years ago, tried to put you and a few activists working on petition campaigns in jail for hiring out-of-state petitioners there, and you beat him back, and I think pretty much ended his political future in the process. So now you actually see nice things about California, and I'm not used to seeing that these days. Citizen Charge gave us an A for our process. So with the same construction, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the process, what is it that you like in the California process and those different stages? And even with the compliment you've paid to us, what things should we be thinking about doing to improve it?
Our view is that citizens ought to be in charge of their government, that the initiative process is not diametrically opposed to representative government, that the citizen initiative process is a chance occasionally. Even in California and Oregon and states that use the process a lot, it's not, the lawmakers in the Capitol are passing hundreds of laws. There's maybe 8 or 12, or in a big election, 16, or in most states, 2 or 3 or none on the ballot every 2 years. So that what the initiative process is a chance for people to represent themselves. And when we grade states around the country, what we're really looking at is, do they have the ability to do it? And it doesn't necessarily say that everything's perfect in the process. Most states in the country got an F or a D because most of the states have no initiative process. They have no check where citizens can directly impact legislation. They have to go to their legislature. So California has a very robust process. You've got a constitutional amendment process, you've got a statutory process, you have it at the local level as well as the statewide level. Our view is that every American at every level of government ought to have a direct check on government where they can act with their neighbors to put something on the ballot and have a vote. Now, we all like democracy, and frankly, we all like it a lot more when we win than when we lose. But we've all lost, and that's not the end of the world as long as there's a process to then change things. 2 initiatives in this state, Prop 13 and Prop 98, get talked about a lot. On the left, they don't like Prop 13. On the right, they complain that Prop 98 is bankrupting the state. The truth is, the people of this state would pass both of those measures again. And so it doesn't mean that they're right. Maybe they're wrong. But it ought to be up to the people. And so that's why we grade California so highly. There are 3 states, Ohio, Missouri, and California, that received A-minuses. I don't believe any of them got an actual A. And it may be that California was a B+, but it has those it has those processes. And so it gives people a chance. Now, what I'd like to see happen in California is to make it more open and accessible to the average person. We all know that if you've got big money, and this is true in the legislature, it's true in all walks of life, but it's also true in the initiative process. If you've got money, if you've got a political organization, you're already a set organization, whether it's AARP or whether it's a corporation that has the money to then, or has a lot of employees, or whether it's a union, you've got a leg up over the average citizen. And so what we'd like to see is the process made easier. And if you're going to want to make the process easier, you have to have a certain amount of faith. Not that the public's always right, but that the public has a right to make the decision. And that's within certain limits. I think Prop 8 is probably the most troubling initiative, probably for people in this room. There are probably parts of the state where it wouldn't be as troubling. But personally, and not speaking for Citizens in Charge Foundation, it's one instance, and I think they're rare, where you could point to the initiative process and say someone's rights were taken away. The problem is that we have to establish what those rights are. And so I'm for full-blown democracy on any issue in which the public has the right to make the decision. When it comes to certain issues, you have to have rights. And it doesn't matter if you have 99% of the public, you don't have a right to tell someone else what to do in their own home. Look at the Bill of Rights. Those count no matter what the majority says.